how fast do we think it can go up? And at what point do we start kind of looking to take some profits? And some people will say never. My plan is to sell a little bit and then sort of scale sell some from 200K to 300K.
Taking some off at the top, psychologically, that's really tough. I think we will have another really nasty bear market.
This market analysis features a major update from Fred Krueger, sharing his plans for this market cycle, when and why he intends to sell, and the key factors he's watching before taking some money off the table. Let's see what he has to say.
I think that the 4-year cycle per se is dead, right? I'm not even sure it ever really existed, other than just being like an anomaly of, just, we don't have a lot of data points, right? So the first drop was in 2011, and Bitcoin was barely even moving then, so you can't really, it wasn't related to anything. It was just a fluke. The next drop, 2013, might have been involved, it was really due to overextension with Mt. Gox, really, right? It's like the drops are not really connected to halvings, right? In my opinion, right? So I think the idea that the halvings contribute to the rallies and then we get completely overextended and then we automatically drop like clockwork, I don't think is going to apply going forward. So I don't believe in the 4-year cycle at all. I do think we're not immune from bear markets. I think we will have another really nasty bear market. I just don't think we're having it now. I don't think it's happening in the next 12 months, honestly. I think we're going to have a very good, very positive 2026. I think. I do intend to basically start saying, at the end of 2025, to say, okay, I'm going to pick a number at what should Fred be involved? What would be a good maximum number to be involved in? And Kelly suggests a number, by the way. It suggests 70%. That's kind of the number it would mathematically suggest. There's a whole bunch of math around this, and there's all kinds of properties of this, right? So it's not just pulled, there's a reason. There's a reason for this, right? And it could be, right now the number is 75%, 75%. That's kind of based on the returns of Bitcoin. That's what the Kelly formula tells you that it should be, right? So I'm going to look at the end of 2025, and if I have more than 75% of my net worth in Bitcoin, right, which I kind of have now, so unless if Bitcoin goes up, I'm going to definitely have more than 75% of my net worth in Bitcoin, right? Of my liquid net worth in Bitcoin, right? So I will then recalibrate just down to 75. And then I will wait until the end of 2026, and then I will recalibrate in the end of 2026 to Bitcoin.
And what happens? What happens if in Q2 of 2026, we just have a massive correction? Are you just okay with that? You didn't maybe time the top and get to rebuy the bottom like you wanted to, and is there?
Yeah. So the current criterion does not the best way to you have sort of timed rebalancing, right? There's not, the math is a little, you're applying something that wasn't really meant exactly for this, but a lot of people have, right? So, do it once a year is probably just as good as doing it inter a year. You don't need to trade a lot. Like great traders, the great investors do not trade a lot. I don't think that there's a lot of reason to trade a lot. So I think, having a rule that, you wait until a year from now and then you see where you are, and, and these, if we do start dipping, right, probably going to last a year. That's the other thing, right? So you don't need to be in too much of a hurry to catch the dip, in my opinion.
Right.
So again, this is the way I'm looking at. I'm much more looking a little bit because I'm a little older, but also I'm much more of an asset allocator right now than I am a trader. So I'm looking at this saying, okay, yeah, I mean, If I have 70% and the market's dropping, I'm fine. I'm okay. You know, I want to hold it 70%. I don't want to be like Arthur Hayes and just go to shorting Bitcoin. I'm not interested in that, right?
No.
I want to resist absolutely the urge to try to predict the market on the way down. I don't want to do that because the power law tells me that it's getting to 1 million. So if I really believe it's getting to 1 million, you know, I could just hodl right through it. You know, on the other hand, psychologically, that's really tough. And taking some off at the top could, look, I didn't have too much trouble holding my Bitcoin during the 22 debacle.
Yeah,
It didn't really phase me that much. I think this one will probably be, the next one will probably be less than that. So, you know, I have such conviction in the asset right now that, you know, I don't understand people. Well, I do understand them, but I think that people who trade Bitcoin a lot, they need to study Bitcoin more, you know? Yeah. I just think that that's the thing. Some of these other things, you don't have that same kind of, some of these other things could just get wrecked. You know, look, I've sold 10 businesses for $500 million. Took me over 20 years to do that.
Congratulations.
You know, but like what I'm saying is like, you know, that money was hard won, right? Yeah. And, you know, I would not have gotten mega into Bitcoin if I just I wasn't lucky enough to get orange pilled by Tom Lee in 2019, you know? So I was at a conference in Bermuda and he was the guest speaker and I hung out with him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Bitcoin's at 5,000. I was like, Tom, where do you think it's going? And he's like, Fred, 1 million. And I'm like, 5,000, 1 million? Like what? You know, how explain that? Like I got all day, you know? Yeah. For whatever reason, that resonated for me.
Today, the Bitcoin market is demonstrating a strong and immediate bounce back, following a period of intense selling pressure that had pushed prices down significantly. This swift recovery is being fueled by renewed confidence and a general sense that the market drop was overdone. The initial steep decline was largely triggered by macroeconomic anxieties, specifically concerns that global central banks might adopt stricter monetary policies, which tends to make investors wary of assets perceived as risky. However, institutional buyers and large investors appear to be viewing the lower prices as an opportunity, stepping in to aggressively purchase Bitcoin. This action is demonstrating the market's underlying strength. The focus now is on maintaining this upward momentum and confirming a complete recovery from the recent volatility. The market sentiment has shifted back to optimistic. Wish someone taught you Bitcoin earlier? Now's your chance to do better for your kids or young family. This teen ebook is perfect. Link in the description.